Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. Like Mr. Binisha, Mr. Firdausi said before, we want this to be a interactive session. So it is not like a webinar. We want it to be a training session so that everyone understands what all of us are saying or what we are trying to explain. So if you have any doubts or any clarity you want on any of the slides at any point, you can always just raise your hand and we can clarify it right away. So that it becomes a very fruitful session for you. Even we want you to leave the session thinking that yes, we have understood and we have learned something new, we have explored some new solution that we would not have known before. So if you have any doubts, please feel free to put it on the chat or raise your hand and you can ask it directly. We're open to any of those. Yeah, and another thing I hope is that everyone has the training handbook that is printed, because we are going to refer to that handbook in certain places so that your understanding is clear. And towards the end, we also have a certain small exercises which would concrete the whole principle what we have taught through these through the whole webinar or through the whole training. So without further ado, let's begin. Yeah. So, firstly, I just want to introduce us as astTECS. So, we are enterprise telephony. What I mean by enterprise telephony is we cover the whole enterprise telephony spectrum, where we have IPPBX, we have call centers, we have omni-channel solutions, we have WhatsApp solution, we have the PA system, we have IP phone. So, anything that is required by an enterprise for their telecommunication needs is something that astTECS would deliver. We are based on the open source architecture. So a good part about the open source architecture is that we're open to integrations and we have a very strong integration team in that sense. So when if any third party system has to be integrated with us, we have no issues, and we allow those kind of integrations. We almost promote those kind of integrations because we want systems to coexist with each other. There is no licensing cost. So in terms of Aztec systems, there is no licensing cost. Like I think was mentioned before also when we were having the interactive session, it had come up where say other providers like Cisco and Avaya, all of them have a license cost. So every year you have to renew this license to use the system. In Aztec's case, you can have it as a one-time buyout. So then what happens is, as long as your system runs, it is essentially that first cost that you have. We have a very strong support, global support team. So being based in India does not mean that we only work or support during Indian times. Our support team works 24 bar 7. So we support all around the world and we have installations all around the world. So we do support that. And like I mentioned, we do have installations all over the world. We are present in around 40 countries. And through our franchisees, through our partners, we have a strong local presence in most of the places. So coming to the main topic of today, what is an IPPA solution? So an IPPA solution, similar to your traditional analog solution, is a PA solution, but a much more powerful, a much more advanced solution. So it is based on the IP protocol where it all data is transferred through the IP network. So the speakers use SIP, and the speakers are also additionally API enabled. So what that means by that is that just not that you can just like you make a phone call, you can announce to the speakers, but also at the same time we can integrate these speakers with other solutions. So as we go later into the whole training, we also have examples on how these solutions can be integrated, what are use cases of integration, and all those that give much more clarity. Then it is PoE enabled. So till 20 watts we have PoE enabled speakers. So the advantage of that is the fact that now you don't have to have two separate like cablings, one for power, one for internet. These case speakers can work purely on your internet connection itself. So that is a very strong key point. Now one I just want to take a small take a small deviation from here so that like I mentioned, this is going to be an interactive session. So I just want to maybe have, so we'll have polls, we'll have quizzes, we'll have multiple things so that we have people interacting throughout the session. So I just want to have a small poll so that we can see that everyone's on this on the same page and you get used to the polls as well. So I just launched a poll. The question is, which year was Aztec started? So I hope everyone can see the poll on their screen. Yeah, I can see answers coming in as well. So there is 2007, 2012, 2019, 2020. So I just want to see, we want to know. So 12 of 42 people have already answered within the first 10 seconds. 17 people have answered it. So we keep the poll open for a minute so that we can get as many answers as. So 42% of participants have answered. I think we can keep it open for a minute so that we can see still answers coming in. So yeah, answers are still coming in. A majority of it is the right answer. Yeah, maybe another 5 seconds we'll close the poll. Yeah. So I'm closing the poll. Yeah. So a lot of the participants have answered the poll, and the right answer to this is 2007. So the why I wanted to also share this poll is also to show the fact that astTECS as a company has been here for the last 17 years, and if we weren't giving quality solutions or quality products, we would not be in the market for that long. So it is our key, or our USP is our quality of service and quality of products. So coming back to the IPPA solution now, uh, these are the few trends that are in the current market. So these are what I've also done is I've also tagged the articles from where I have got these market trends and market researches, so that these are all validated market researches. So 40% of new installations of PA systems are IPPA solutions. So that shows that the market trend is going towards IPPA solutions rather than analog PA solutions. And why this trend is going to that would be also clear when this training continues. 30% or lower. Mr. Elder, do you have something to say? Okay.
No, we can keep on. No problem.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So 30% lower long-term cost. So another thing is that when you have analog solutions, you have degradation of lines, and a lot. It's a in the long term, it is a much more beneficial to you or to the organization that you give it to have an IP solution. See, now whenever a solution like an IP solution is also installed, we have to consider the fact that this is something that is going to be in the organization for the next 10-15 years. So you want to give them that future proof solution. You want to give them the solution that they know in the next 10 years also they can integrate with other solutions, they can do these customizations, they can do this. So you're giving them that added advantage also. 50% of industrial plants, as in factories, all of them are using IPPA solutions right now. And like I mentioned, 40% of new installations are also going to be IPPA. So industries are a huge resource. Now, the global market for IPPA solutions by 2033 is $9.1 billion. So this is a huge growing market, and it is a market that is coming into phase. Just like saying that you have cars that are running on petrol, and then you have cars that are running on electric, and then there is a market capture of the electric cars, and slowly the market becomes bigger. Similar to that, now IPPA system, it is the market. So it is where the growth is happening. It is the booming stage for IPPA solutions. So that is why all these stats show that there is a growth, and it is what the future of IPA solutions are. 80% of North American airports are going to implement IPPA solutions. 50% of education sectors have already implemented IPPA solutions, and that is the future. So, what these trends show is that the IPPA market is a huge market, and is a market that can be potentially lucrative to tap. But also at the same time, it shows that there is a scope for us to be in this market where we are riding the wave. So rather than saying that I unlock PS solutions and stick to it, there is only if we evolve do we grow. So we have to be part of this evolution, and we have to ride that wave. So so after I'm handing it, so this is the introduction, and I hope this was informative. I would like to hand it over to Melvin to explain the next portion of this. Just before Melvin takes over, if anyone had any clarity or require any clarity on the slides that we were talking about before, we can answer that before we move forward as well. Or you can just put it in the chat. Anything is fine. If nothing, then yeah, Melvin, we can go.
Hi everyone, thank you Abu. So myself Melvin Thomas, I'm the product manager for PA system. So let me share my screen. I hope my screen is okay. I hope my screen is visible. So 1 second. Okay. So I request you to keep track on the handbook also, maybe page number 5. Okay, so in today's world, the communication, or let's just say the flow of information, has become critical, right? And also, like the communication part, the flow of information, that become irrefutable part of every organization. And also, one example is like it is not just sending the message; it is also getting the feedback and targeting the exact audience and documenting that communication or message. All these are important. So one example we can say is that how we shifted from the verbal communication to mail communication. In mail communication, we know we can target the exact audience, we can get the feedback, and also we can document the communication. So all this communication, it is become crucial for every organization, right? So the same shift happened for IP based PA system also, in public announcement system also, that Abu already mentioned that that shift is happening from analog to IP based solution, that IP PA system, that shift is happening. So this is the exact time to do the marketing also. So most of the scenarios, like most of the clients are not aware of this IP based public announcement system. So it is our duty to introduce this IP solution, IP based public announcement system, to the market. So in welcoming saying that analog communication, analog PA system, and IP communication. So the major difference is that we know that we can target the exact audience. In analog PA system, that will be a common announcement. Like if someone wants to make an announcement, they should go to a dedicated area, they need to hold the mic, control the amplifier, and make the announcement. So that is the traditional way of making announcement. So it will be a combined announcement. In case of school, we know that if the principal is making the announcement, it will be a combined announcement, common announcement. So some classrooms exam might be happening, PTA meeting might be happening, so it will be disturbing for them. But when it's come to IP based public announcement system, the major thing is that we can target the exact audience, we can create unlimited zones, we'll come to that point. So and also we can get the feedback to two-way communication. So the principal, it is not important that the principal should go to a dedicated area or should go to the classroom for the communication. By sitting in his office itself, he can communicate, get the feedback from students also. And all this announcement will be documented. So for the future, like if any inspection or something like that happening, we can show the evidence, like we can document the announcement, we can show the recording, what time we have conducted the announcement, what is the result, all these things we can document it. And here you can see we can schedule the announcement. So in case of schools, morning prayer will be there, assembly announcement will be there, exam notifications will be there. So it is also important that whenever there is a communication, the communication should be audible to everyone. And also that should be automated. Like we can't make one person or dedicated person to take care of this announcement, it should be automated. But when it's come to analog PA system, we can't schedule the announcement, we can't automate the announcement. But IP based PA system, we can schedule the announcement using the web based interface. We'll explore that interface also. So even the targeted announcement, like as I mentioned, we can create unlimited zones, and we can target the exact audience. Like in schools, like if some classrooms exams or PTA meeting is happening, we can avoid that classrooms and we can make a announcement. And as I mentioned, like announcement, like we can get the recording of the announcement, and even we can do the integration with the other devices also. Nowadays, like this integration is very important, like integration with the CCTV, integration with the IPBBX, all these kind of integrations are important. And when it's come to hospital scenario, you know that as per NABH, the fire alarm integration is mandatory. So whenever there is a fire alarm or fire issue happen, the fire alarm will give a trigger to the PA system, and PA system will make the announcement, evacuate fast, or kind of pre-recorded evacuation message we can trigger. So all these integrations are also becoming important. And as I mentioned, we can do the automation also, we can automate the announcement. So once we schedule the announcement, or once we upload the audio file, it will be automated. We just need to select the date, time, frequency. We'll come to that point. I'll show you how to schedule the announcement, all these things. And one of the major, as I mentioned, like we have basically three type of speaker: ceiling speaker, wall mount speaker, and horn speaker. Okay, so these are the three basic type of speaker. So ceiling speaker and wall mount speaker, we suggest indoor. So if it is a office, classroom, or hospital, based on the client input also, we'll be getting the client input, and based on that, we'll be suggesting the speaker, ceiling speaker. So ceiling speaker, we are having 10-watt speaker that will be PoE. So additional power adapter is not required. Only thing is that switch should be PoE. If the switch is PoE and if the switch can provide enough power to the speaker, then well and good. Everything will be working properly. Additional power adapter is not required. So wherever we are planning to keep the speaker, their LAN cable, Cat6 cable should be available. That is only requirement. So when it's come to wall mount speaker, we have three varieties: 10 watts, 15 watt, 20 watt. So all these three speakers are PoE speaker. So as I mentioned, like the speakers are both, wall mount speakers are both PoE as well as non-PoE. So if the customer has the PoE switch, then additional power adapter is not required, only LAN cable is enough. In case if it is already, the customer is already having existing non-PoE switches, in that kind of scenario, we can install the speaker with the power adapter. Okay, so both way it is possible. So based on the scenario, based on the customer input, we'll be suggesting the speaker models. And the horn speaker, like when it's come to horn speaker, we are having four varieties starting from 15 watt. 15 watt, 20 watt, 30 watt, and 50 watt. So in horn speaker, usually this horn speaker we suggest outdoor or in the factory location, factory area, the noise, a lot of noise will be there, a lot of machineries are there. So it is also important that whenever there is an announcement, it should be audible to everyone. So when it's come to horn speaker, the horn speaker sound will travel more distance. It will travel more distance and it will be kind of penetrating, like it is more good for the sirens, alarms, this kind of announcements. So in horn factories also we suggest horn type speaker. So the 50 watt will be non-PA. Other than that, till 30 watt we can provide PoE option. Okay. And one of the major feature of IP based public announcement system is zone wise announcement. So we can create unlimited zones. There is no restriction for creating zones. We can create unlimited zone, and even one speaker can be in multiple zone also. So let's just say in school scenario, we know different classrooms will be there, different floors will be there, department. So it is also important that whenever the principal makes the announcement, it should be targeting the exact audience. So if it is only for the 10th section or 10th division, then there is no point of making a common announcement, right? So we can create unlimited zones, like based on the classroom or based on floor level. So any kind of zones we can create based on the customer input. Even the structure is little complicated also, based on the customer input we can create unlimited zones. Okay, so here you can see the zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. And zone 1, silent speakers, and zone 2, this many speakers are active. And here you can see silent speaker and horn speaker is common for zone 2 and zone 3, right? So like that, based on the customer input, we can create unlimited zones. There is no limitation for creating zones. And in case, like as I mentioned, in a school scenario, if some classrooms, exams, or PT meeting might be happening, in that scenario, we can avoid those classroom and we can make the announcement. So it will be audible in other classroom except the classroom where exams or PT meeting might be happening. And when it's come to hospital cases, like we know in hospital, the announcement is very important. I mean, the communication is very important. And also, we can't make a common announcement. So in case if it is a code blue announcement or code red announcement, so it can't be a common announcement because the patients or doctor, they'll get panic, right? And also there is something called code blue announcement. It should be only audible in the near station and emergency area. So we can create a zone including all the near station, and even we can create a zone including operation room. So in case of very emergency only, in operation room announcement will be there. So in that scenario, we can create a zone like maybe emergency scenario, and we can give an extension number also. So in case of any emergency, they can dial that emergency number and make the announcement. In that time, in the operation room itself, the announcement will be audible. In case of fire or any kind of major issues, emergencies, that announcement will be audible in the hospital. Otherwise, we can target the exact audience. In reception, we can make separate announcement, initiation separate announcement, operation room ward separate announcement. So based on the customer input, we can create unlimited zones. Okay, and we can schedule the announcement. So I request you to open the handbook, page number 6. In that one question we have mentioned, So I request Abu to drop the poll also. So the question is like, can you schedule different announcement for the different zone automatically with IP speaker? Okay, so the options are no, you have to do it manually. Second option is that yes, you can schedule zone specific announcement using management system. Okay, only if you are installing extra hardware, only in the during maintenance section, maintenance time. So I think almost 12 people have answered. We'll wait for one more minute. Okay, already 18 people have answered the question. Yes, we'll wait for 5 more seconds. So once again, I'll read the question. Can you schedule different announcement for different zones? For different announcement for different zones, is it possible? I think everyone got the exact idea. Yes, we can schedule zone specific announcement using a management system. So we'll be having a dedicated interface. In that interface itself, we can schedule the announcement, and that even we can select the zone and make the announcement. One example is that in hospital we can keep background music, but in operation room or emergency area there should not be any background music, right? It should be only in the reception or visiting area. So in visiting area we can separately schedule one background music. Or in case of school also, in visitor area, only in the visitor area we can schedule the background music. So I think everyone got the exact idea, everyone got the understanding. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. If you have any doubt. Okay, so if you have any doubt in this zone creation, you can raise your hand, or even you can type in the chat board, or even the WhatsApp group also, you can raise the queries. Okay. So I think everything is clear as of now. So the announcement devices. So we know the traditional way of making announcement. As I mentioned, when it's come to analog PA system, there will be a dedicated mic, amplifier will be there. So in case of like analog PA system, I think there is a query. Can we integrate IP? Can we integrate IPPA system with the fire alarm system? Yes, we can do the integration with the fire alarm system. That is possible. So we'll come to that point. So Abu will be discussing more detail about the AP integration, and there is one device called astBox, how we can integrate with the analog device. We'll come to that point. We'll detail explain with the architecture diagram, so it will be more understandable. Okay, so we were discussing about the announcement devices. When it comes to analog PA system, there will be dedicated place where the amplifier will be kept, mic will be kept. So if someone wants to make the announcement, they should go to dedicated area. There they need to control the amplifier and make the announcement using the mic setup. But when it comes to IP-based PA system, the major difference is that we don't need a dedicated area for the announcement. We can make the announcement from any location. If IP phone or mobile phone is there, we can make the announcement. Right. And if in hospital also, it is like it is very important that any time that announcement or code announcement, code red announcement, any time this kind of announcement will be there. So one more point is that each speaker will be having a unique number, unique extension number. We call extension number. So each speaker will be having a unique extension number, and each zone also will be having a unique extension number. So here you can see the speakers, like each speaker will be having unique extension number. So it will be like a series like 1000, 1001, 1002, like that the series will go. And zone also will be having a unique extension number, maybe 3000, 3001, 3002, like that. So if someone wants to make the announcement, they can dial 1000 from their IP phone, the announcement will go to one specific speaker. So based on the announcement, based on the audience, we can select the zone and make the announcement. For that, we just need to dial the extension number and make the announcement. From the IP phone, we can make the announcement. We don't need a dedicated mic setup for the announcement. If you have IP phone, from the IP phone, from IP phone itself, we can make the announcement. And even like we can program the keys. Like here you can see the keys. All these keys are programmable. So if the customer is saying that I don't want to dial a extension number, maybe 1000, 2000, instead of that, by pressing one button, one emergency for emergency scenario, just pressing one button should initiate a call. So in all these keys we can program it by just pressing one button, we can initiate the call. And we have IP phone with the gooseneck mic. Usually we prefer this kind of IP phone with the gooseneck mic. I mean, IP phone with the gooseneck mic in the railway stations or reception, because there will be continuous announcement. So it is not possible for the receptionist to take the receiver and make the announcement. And the sound clarity also will be little better comparing with IP phone. A little better quality also will be there. So without taking the receiver, the customer can make the announcement. Okay, and one more solution is that IP as to soft phone, like from mobile phone itself, we can initiate the announcement. So one used scenario is like in factories, the premise will be a little bigger, maybe 200-acre premise or 300-acre premise. So it is not possible for the manager to go to the dedicated area, hold the press the IP phone and make the announcement. In that kind of scenario, if the admin or the manager see one incident or someone is not wearing the helmet, so in that time if we want to initiate the announcement, he can just take the mobile phone and he can initiate the announcement. So from mobile phone itself we can make the announcement. It is not mandatory to go to a dedicated area. If you have IP phone or mobile phone, you can initiate the announcement. And even we have a device called push to talk button. So this usual scenario will be like for the two-way communication. So two-way communication, in schools, uh, the principal wants to communicate to the student. By sitting in his office itself, he can communicate to the student. So the students will be giving the feedback through this push to talk button, right? So to this push to talk button, students will be pushing this button and will be giving the feedback. Like principal can make the announcement like Raju, please report. So Raju will be pushing this button and he'll be talking back to the principal. Like the two-way communication is possible. And also the another practical scenario is like if the principal wants to listen what is happening in the classroom. In that scenario, we'll be removing this push to talk button. Instead of that, the mic will be active. So whenever the principal initiate the call to the speaker, this push to talk button or push to talk mic will be active. So it will capture the noise what is happening in the classroom. So the principal can listen what is happening in the classroom without the knowledge of student or faculty. The principal can listen what is happening in the classroom. Okay, and even in the public areas, like we can initiate the call, like it will act as a SOS call, emergency panic button. So in through this push to talk also we can initiate the call, right? So I think this announcement device part is clear. So I request you to open the page number 6. Okay, and here I can see the question also. What is the most suitable announcement device in the public place as an SOS device? So as I mentioned, we have different kind of announcement devices like IP phone with the gooseneck mic, mobile phone, or push to talk button. So which will be the more suitable device as a SOS or panic button? We can say panic button also for the public. Which will be the more suitable device? Can we keep IP phone in the public area, or can public can use their mobile phone, or can we implement push to talk button? So almost 22 people have 43% people has answered the question, and yeah, 71% people answered the exact correct option, like PTT button. PTT button is the answer. So one practical scenario is, let me end this poll. So most of the people understood the scenario. Okay, so PTT button, one practical scenario is like currently we are working on some projects where in traffic place we'll be implementing this announcement, IP-based public announcement in the system, because it is not possible for to lay the copper cable enter the city, right? So most of the traffic places like public areas, fiber connectivity will be there. Using the fiber connectivity, IP communication will be happening. So it is wherever we want to implement the speaker, there we can implement the speaker, because fiber connection or IP communication will be happening, right? So it is more easy to implement IP based public announcement system that rather than analog. I can say analog PS system, it is not at all possible in this scenario. Also, along with this solution, we'll be suggesting this panic button also for the public. In case of any emergency, the public can initiate a call to the control room using this push to talk button. So the in case of any emergency, someone can come and push this button that will initiate a call to the control room. Okay, so this kind of implementation also we can do, and also in hospitals or factory, we can use this as a panic button where in case of an emergency, we can keep it in a way like break the glass and push the button. So if someone push this button, automatically that will trigger the alarm. Automatically one pre-recorded evacuation message we can trigger using this push to talk button. So a lot of practical applications are there. So Abbu will be discussing more about this PTT button and how the connectivity, all these things will be happening. All these things will discuss in detail. Okay. And even we have some kind of customization that is called ambient noise detection speaker. So ambient noise detection speaker is nothing but the speaker that automatically understands the environment noise, and automatically that will increase and decrease the volume. So one practical scenario is like if it is in a park maybe morning time, lot of crowd will be there, or even in noon time less crowd will be there, and evening the crowd will increase, right? So also whenever there is a communication, it is very mandatory that it should be audible by everyone. That is mandatory. Especially in public areas, most of the scenario they'll be using this PA system for emergency scenarios, right? And also we can't kill the piece of public. If it is more audible, if it is more loud, that will be noisy or that will be disturbing for the public. So based on the noise level, if the crowd is high, if the noise level is high, the speaker automatically that will increase the noise, I mean increase the volume. So noise detection mics are there inside the speaker. So this noise detection mics in understand the noise level, and based on the noise level the speaker will automatically increase and decrease the volume. So this is more useful for the public areas, park, railway station. So I think you can give more suggestion like other than public areas and park, railway station. Do you have any other place where we can implement this solution, ambient noise detection speak? Actually, this is a customization. So you can mention in the chat board, I mean, chat box where we can implement this solution other than public areas, a park, railway station, where we can implement this solution. I mean, ambient noise detection speaker. So do you have any suggestion where we can implement this solution? You can mention in the WhatsApp group or in the chat. Yes, factories also. Factory is good implementation. Like as I mentioned, factory sometimes machineries will be active, sometimes machineries will be not active. So based on the noise level, we can automatically the speaker will increase and decrease the volume. When machineries are active, the speaker volume will be high. And other than factories, do you have any other
Railway
suggestion where
stations.
we can implement this solution? Or someone can mute if unmute and give your suggestions also.
Railway stations.
Railway station, exactly. Railway station also, sometimes train will be there, the noise will be high. So based on the noise level, speaker will automatically increase and decrease the volume.
So,
Mm.
this feature also comes in horn speakers.
Yes, horn speaker also we can implement the same solution. Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Mm. So do you have any other suggestion? In malls also we can implement this solution, right? Sometimes the mall will be a little crowded, and that time the background music, if the management is running any background music, that will be audible to everyone. And whenever there is less crowd, so that time there will be slight background music, right? These are the practical implementation of this ambient noise detection speaker. And also one more scenario is like if the customer is saying that I want incoming calls, outgoing calls, as well as I need PA system also. In that kind of situation, it is not important that the customer should buy a separate server for PBX one server or PA system one server. In one server itself, we can do the software installation of IPPA system also. So customer can use as a all-in-one solution. Like they can do outgoing call, incoming call, they can do intercom as well as announcement also. So the solution will be like a server with IPPBX and a PA system software and IP phones and speaker. So the same IP phone we can use for outgoing call, incoming call, intercom, as well as public announcement also. We can use the same IP phone. So we don't need a dedicated mic setup, or we don't need additional amplifier. So we can use as a all-in-one solution. Okay, and other feature like built-in amplification, as I already mentioned, the speakers are active speaker. That means we don't need additional amplifier. Each speaker, individual speaker has inbuilt amplifier, right? And the advantage is like we will be able to control individual speaker volume also. One practical scenario is like in hospitals, we know everywhere we can't keep the higher volume. So in ward, it will be little crowded. In the operation room, it will be very less noise, right? So based on the noise level, based on the department or division, we can set the speaker volume also. Individual speaker, we are having the control. So I'll show that in the interface also, and integration with the modern system. Like as I mentioned, we can do the integration with the IP cameras or motion sensors. We can integrate the fire alarm. All these kind of integrations are possible. So this integration part, Abu will be taking with an architecture diagram, and build in POA. Additional power adapter is not required. Only thing is that wherever we are planning to keep the speaker, their access cable should be available, easy to scale. Like as I mentioned, if the customer is saying that I don't have that much budget to invest for the PA system, so in that scenario, the customer can buy a lesser number of speaker in the first financial year. So maybe they can go with the 10 or 15 number of speaker, and gradually they can increase the number of speaker. Only thing is that the server should be able to support that much like speakers, that much announcement devices. So while suggesting the server, we consider number of devices and what might be the future expansion. So these two things we'll consider before suggesting the server. So the customer can increase the number of speaker without changing the server. Only thing is that only access cable should be available. It will be just plug and play. So the coming next financial year, they can purchase maybe 20 or 30 speaker extra. And simple cabling and installation. Like as I mentioned, we don't need a copper cabling. Only thing is that catches cable should be available and PoE switches should be there. That is the only requirement. Most of the premises will be having this kind of setup, like this LAN networking will be already present in the most of the premises. So maybe we can utilize the same LAN network for the PA system also. Play all type of audios. We can uh, play MP3 wave file, any kind of audio files we can share. We can schedule. And we are having two interfaces, admin interface and manager interface. Okay, so admin interface will be utilizing for the zone creation, zone customization, and adding new devices. So manager interface will be live status, creating playlist, scheduling, announcement. All these things will be using the manager interface. So let's go to the live interface. Let me share the screen. Yes. I hope my screen is visible. So here I can see the admin interface and manage interface. And here I can see the IP address also 10.0.9.3. So currently my laptop is connected to the premise. That's why I'm able to access this interface. So if you have existing laptop or PC in the premise, using the existing laptop or PC itself, you can access this interface. Okay, so let's go to the manage interface first. Okay. So in manage interface, you can see how many zones are there, each zone, how many speakers are active. All these status you can see from the manager interface. So the first module is zone. Zones based on the customer requirement, we can create unlimited zones. There is no limitation for creating zone, and even one speaker can be in multiple zone also. When it's come to hospital, maybe we can create like operation rooms, nurse stations, or reception like that. Based on the customer input, we can create unlimited zones. Next one is status module, where we can see the status of speaker, whether the speaker is active, inactive. All these status we can see from this interface. Okay, and as I mentioned, the individual speaker volume also we can control. Okay, so currently this is demo interface. That's why all these speakers are inactive. Okay, and the next one is scheduling announcement. So this is very important, like one of the major feature of IP-based PA system. As I mentioned, like when it comes to a practical scenario, like schools, morning prayer will be there, assembly announcement, exam notification will be there. So all this announcement we can schedule it. So once we schedule the announcement, it will be automated. So here you can just add new, maybe morning prayer. You can start date you can select, and timing also maybe 9 o'clock. Exception date also you can select. If it is in Saturday, Sunday, if you don't want the announcement, we can select those days. And here you can upload the audio file, right? And also you can select the zone also. If you want to announce to all the zone, that is possible. Otherwise in the meeting room or second floor, and like that we can schedule the announcement. So once we schedule the announcement, it will be automated from Monday to Friday. Announcement will be there, right? So this is more suitable for the schools and hospital also. Maybe from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock we can schedule the background music, right? In factories, if there is any missionary, specific time for missionaries to start, before that we can give an alert, we can schedule that. So whenever there, before that missionary start, that announcement will be there, right? And playlist creation. And there is one more thing we can say bell scheduling. So we'll come to this point. So we'll be taking a separate section, separate presentation or separate slide for this scheduling bell section. So this is very useful for the school scenario. We'll come to that point. So this is all about manager interface. So do you have any doubts regarding this manager interface, regarding zone, status, schedule? So if you have any queries, you can ask in the chat box. If you have any doubt, you can drop the question in the chat box. Okay, let's move to the admin interface. Okay, so the major function of admin interface will be creating zones or customizing the existing zones. So all these functions will be doing from the admin interface, right? So in admin interface, if the customer is saying that I want to create one more zone, I want to add 5 number of speaker, so that is possible. Here we can select the new zone and we can give an extension number, and maybe third floor we can select the number of speakers, and like that we can create another zone. So anytime for that technical knowledge is not required, we'll be giving the proper training after the installation. We'll be teaching the manager or admin or faculties how to create zone, how to customize the zone, or how to schedule the announcement. All this training will be giving properly. For that technical knowledge is not required. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so I think the admin interface and manager interface is clear. Okay, so next part, network and architecture diagram, which will be discussing and taken by Abu. So over to you, Abu.
Thank you, Melvin. Just to recheck, if anyone has any doubts or queries, you can unmute yourself now and maybe ask it, so that in case you need some clarity on the next slides, also you're clear about it. There are no bad questions. All questions help everyone understand better. So if anyone has any doubts or queries, please ask us right away.
Hello.
Two questions are there, Abu. Should I read out or?
Okay, we can go to the questions in the chat also.
So,
Okay, Manohar sir has a question. Sir, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Are you providing any like PPT or some demo type of things? How we will proceed with the customers?
Yes, sir. We do have slides that we will share with you with all this information
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100%. We have
I
slides
have
that
a
we will share.
question.
Yes.
Huh. As nowadays automation is very popular. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Huh.
We can hear you.
Nowadays home automation is very popular, and some client demands multi-zone media player. So can we use this device as a multi-zone audio player?
So the PA system, see, the PA system is used for, say, announcements and bell triggers, and it is not a, it is not comparable to a home audio system. So it is
Okay.
not that you put this in, you say, a home theater or any system like that. This is, so that is a different kind of announcement system itself. That is a sound system. This is a public announcement system. So different. It's two different use cases.
No, means in different zones, like different room, different places, they want different play audios at the same time. So I thought it can work as
They
a audio
can.
server.
Yes, sir, that they can do. Absolutely. So different rooms. So I thought your question was more that, say, they want to we keep this in like a home theater system and have different surround sound or something like that. No, but if it is different rooms have to play different audio, yes, absolutely. We have given it to multiple hotels also that do this, where each floor in the hallway had a different sound, and then there were speakers in the room as well, but then the speakers only triggered if there was a fire alarm. So yes, absolutely. You can have different, you can have these speakers, you can create playlists, and on the playlist you can tell which room you want which playlist to play. So you have that level of control. You have a level of control till the level of the speaker. Absolutely, sir, you
Okay.
can do that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, there is a few questions above which has come up on the previous slide. I'm just reading out the first question that came from Mr. Dilip. Can we record the announcement to schedule the time?
Yes, so I think yes, sir. You can 100% do this. I think Melbourne also touched upon the scheduler feature. So you can, if you on the scheduler UI, you can have announcements. You can schedule announcements, but also say you have a list of files that have to be played and scheduled. You can create a playlist and attach it to the scheduler as well. So yes, 100%. You can do any of that. We give that complete flexibility to you to manage. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
So I'll
second
read the
question
next.
is from Sanjay Drive. The question is, what is the maximum distance covered by the Cat6 cable for the speakers?
Yeah, so Cat6 by standard is 100 meters. So your Cat6 cable can be only 100 meters for data transmission. But yes, if longer than that, you can go with fiber and then say have a GPON device or anything at the end, and then convert the fiber to Ethernet and take it from there. But then 100 meters is your Cat6 limitation, and that is not a limitation set by us. That is a general Cat6 limitation as such.
Will you also help in providing SDK files for integration with some uh,
So
R&D system?
your voice is breaking, sir. Sorry, I
I
couldn't hear
said,
you.
will you support it as integration if I want to attach some multi audio input devices through the API file or SDK support?
Sir, I didn't understand your question again, sir.
No.
Sorry.
I said, if I want to integrate this server with my own some kind of research and development equipment, so will you help me in providing API key and SDK files?
Yes, sir. So what we do is we have open APIs where you can pass audio, you can upload audio, you can play audio, you can stop audio. So yeah, so it is we have an open API, sir. You can directly integrate it. And if you have any doubts during the integration, we're happy to help as well.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So we have open APIs for integration. So that is a key advantage of also having a system that is based on open source ideology, so that we are open to these kind of integrations and we encourage this kind of integrations.
Okay, Abu, next question is from Mr. Nagender. Will the push to talk button connected to Ethernet cable or will it be directly connecting to the PA system?
So the push to talk button is connected to a speaker. So it is four wires from the speaker connected to the push to talk button. So the push to talk is paired with the speaker and the speaker is connected to the Ethernet. So that also we will touch in detail when we go through the next slides.
Okay, I think this is the next question. It's come from Akshay. If SIP speakers are need to connect through API, does the PA console required in this scenario?
Yeah, so no, so you don't need, so see, you can have two ways. So see, a speaker by itself is an IP speaker and it has, so APIs also when we come to it, we will touch upon further detail. But what this means is that you can directly send APIs to the speakers to play audio, stop audio. It's just that, say, for example, you want to play it to a group via API, you want to play it to a group of speakers, then you will need the server because the server manages the sending audio to a group of speakers. But if it's a one-to-one communication, 100% you can do it directly to a speaker. You don't need a PA server there. And we have multiple use cases like this. For example, we have companies that we have integrated with smart cameras, where they have different sensors on their cameras where line crossing or defect detection or any of those processes where they want to make these announcements. So in those cases, yes, we can integrate it as a one-to-one solution also.
Thank you. The next question is more on the integrations with other alarm systems. This question
Yeah.
is from
So
Sunny. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. No. So the speaker by itself does not have any of those speakers. The speaker is a smart speaker, as in it can accept input commands, it can relay sound, but it does not have an inbuilt fire detection system. It relies on other fire detection systems to do this.
Okay. The next question is from Maushami. Can we add more than one audio in one speaker?
Yes, you can add, the speaker has a large memory and you can add much more than one audio in a speaker. So that is also a key differentiator between, say, an analog speaker and an IP speaker, where analog, maybe if you're allowed to make add an audio also, it's flashed into the system and then it is non-editable. But here you can add audio, you can remove audio. And when we mean by audio, it does not have to be, say, a bell sound. It can be any sound. You have that kind of flexibility. So yeah, so you can add any audio. There is no limitation, and you can add a lot of audio files as well.
Okay, I think this is the questions till now for the previous slides. Maybe we can go ahead with the next
Yeah,
slides.
and I think that is a good interactive session also. So if anything, again, we will, if, between the talks also, we will keep going back to the chats, or if anyone has any doubts, so that everyone is clear. So even, say, asking these questions gave a clarity to not just the person who asked the question, but to everyone here as well. So we are sharing information so that we can think about other cases, and it helps us when we are going to, talking to the customers as well. So in continuation with that, let me just share my screen and we will start with the network architecture. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, so this is okay. So in terms of network architecture, the IPPA system, you can have multiple modes. So starting upon the very simpler mode of network architecture is having it in a single location. So single location, what I mean is, maybe it is one building, everything is connected. So what happens is, you have, say, a switch, and then to the switch are all the other devices connected. Your IP phone is connected, the server is connected, the speakers are connected. Now maybe the wall mount speaker is a 10-watt speaker. So for a 10-watt speaker, you'd maybe just have to give the LAN connection if it's a PoE switch. Now ceiling speaker can also run on PoE. Horn speaker till 30 watts can run on PoE. So all these solutions can be pure PoE, or maybe if you have a 50-watt speaker, you need another separate power unit. So in a single location model, it is very straightforward. You have more like a star connection, and then you connect everything. And the only requirement, regardless it is a single location or a multi-location, is the base principle that the speaker should be able to reach the IP of the server. So if the speaker and the server can communicate, then you can make these announcements. So it just has to be on the same network, and that is all that the system requires to function. Now, from a single location, we can also have a multi-location. Now, when I mean multi-location, multi-location is a little more exciting, where multi-location is not just having speakers in two different buildings that are together, but you can have speakers spread all across the world and then still work as the same unit. You have one server, and then you can have thousands of speakers all around the world. And with a single button push, you can make announcement to all those thousand speakers, regardless where they are. Or again, we just have to follow the base principle that the speaker should be able to communicate with the server. Now, looking at the diagram also, say for example, you have the server, and the server has a public IP. Now the server is connected to the network. So from your firewall, you're natting an IP, a public IP, to the server, and then it is connected to the internet. Now, say this is location 2. In location 2, all you have is a switch, and you have internet connection, and all these speakers are registered to the IP of this server. Now, if I make a call from an IP phone, and I want to announce to a speaker, I want to announce to a zone, I want to announce to any combination of zones, what happens is it is the same. So that is the beauty of having a IP based PA system, where geographically also you are not bound. Now you can have it, like I mentioned, have it in a single building, have it in two buildings, have it spread across any acres. Say it's a large campus, uh, it is even if it's a large campus, you only have to have one server sitting in the server room, or now any situation like that. So to just solidify what I was also speaking about, I just want to also run maybe a poll so that everyone has a good idea of the whole multi or the global concept of IP based PA system. So the question is, if I have two speakers, one's placed in Bangalore where I'm sitting now, and the other one's placed in New York, can I make announcements to both these speakers at the same time? And when I say two speakers, I mean IP speakers. So I think everyone's understood that very well, because answers are coming in very fast and everything is right. So I think everyone's getting the answer very fast. So maybe we can wait for another 10-15 seconds and then we can continue. But I think, yes, I think everyone's getting a good idea of the key advantages of what IP-based PA solutions are capable of and what the scope is. And trust me, as we go through this training, it is just solidifying that concept. So yeah, so I think, yes, the answer is yes. So yes, absolutely, you can have one speaker sitting here, one speaker sitting anywhere in the world. You have a server, the server has a public IP, register both, or if you want, you can create a VPN tunnel if you don't want to have a public IP. And then what happens is, you are essentially creating a network of interconnected speakers now, and you have no restriction of where these speakers are or where in the world these speakers are. So that's good that everyone is getting a hang of this. Now, coming to the next part of it is the multifunctional mic. So this was a question that came up earlier also. So like this picture that demonstrates, you have so mics are always paired with speakers. Now to the mic and speaker are connected via a 4-wire cable that is similar to this. And what happens is, you have the speaker is connected, so essentially the network of the mic comes through the speaker. Now this mic is not just a mic. So yes, absolutely, the mic can, when you press the button, the mic, so the mic's button acts as a mute and unmute button, meaning that if there is an announcement, say for example, I'm on the factory floor, and from, say, the factory manager says, Abu, come to the speaker, I can have a conversation with the manager just by muting and unmuting by pressing on the speaker and talking. So that is one option. But also the interesting part is that this is a multifunctional button, as in this button can be used as a emergency button as well. Say for example, I press this, but I want to call the manager on the floor, and or it is a school and I want to call the, say, security office. This pro button can be programmed to automatically call that. So it acts as a multifunctional button. It can trigger a call or mute and unmute options. So like Melvin also asked about the SOS button and all these features. So it is this mic might look like a small device, but it is very feature packed, and it is a well thought out design where we are trying to bring in the most out of small packages where you can handle a lot of scenarios. Now, coming to the next one is a little more technical aspect of it, where we also have, so in our day to day, when we are talking to clients, when we're talking to partners, we also get a lot of questions about which is a PoE switch, or which PoE switch should be used, what is the calculation behind PoE switch. So we also wanted to bring that forward so that we solidify that as well. So when we say talk about power budget of a PoE switch, there are two things. There is a power budget of the switch as a whole, and then there is a power budget of the port. So what I mean by that is that, so for example, the model that you see on the right side of the screen, the TP-Link, sorry, the TP-Link PoE switch. So it is the max power consumption is 74.54. That means that this switch will consume, when it is running, 74.54 watts, but it can only give out 65 watts. Now, when it says it can only give out 65 watts, that does not mean that each port, or I can connect one port and then get 65 watts out of it. Each port has a limitation of 30 watts, meaning any of the four ports I can only get a total of 65 watts. So total of 30 watts. So maybe I can connect maybe 15 watts, 15 watts, 15 watts, 15 watts for a smaller use case. So there are multiple factors you can consider, multiple permutation combinations. But one thing you have to remember is the requirement of the speaker, the max power budget of the port as such, and how much can the device in total give. So what I mean by that is that, say now one more small example is that, say a PoE port. So now we're saying this switch, a PoE port can give 30 watts per port. Now, if a device draws 30 watts, a device requires 30 watts of power. I cannot connect three devices that require 30 watts of power to this switch. Now, why that is that 30 and three devices makes it 90 watts. But this switch can only give me 65 watts. So that is where you have, that is what one of the base calculations that we do when we suggest PoE switch, or when we suggest to customers or our partners what is the configuration that is required. Now, yeah, so one more thing I want to do is also that maybe if you go to page number 9 has a small exercise that we can all do together. So the question is that if I have a 24 port switch of a 80280. So okay, yeah. So one more thing I wanted to, sorry, before I forget about this, is each PoE has standard. So there's AF, AT. So when they say AF standard, it is a PoE switch. Means it can by default give up to 15.4 watts, and AT switches give is a PoE plus switch, meaning it can deliver power up to 30 watts per port. Now, coming back to our question, if I have an AT switch with total PoE budget of 720 watts, and I plan to connect 10 as the 10 watt speakers. So 10 wall mount speakers. So SW10 is our speakers wall mount 10 watts. So now when we say 10 watt speakers, it means 10 watt output. That does not mean the speaker only requires 10 watts. The speaker has other internal operations that require more current. So these speakers would take around 25 watts, and then one IP phone which requires 5 watts. So in my 72 watts, if I have to connect these 11 devices, which are 10 watt speakers and one IP phone, what would be my total power consumption, and then what would be the power left on the speaker, or what would be the, not power left on the speaker, what would be the remaining power in the switch. So I think what we could do is maybe everyone can put their answers in the chat, and then we can also see how everyone has arrived at different solutions and how it is clear. So if everyone could just put their answers in the chat, it is on page number 9 if you want to refer to it. Page number 9, in the bottom, there's a box. So just to reiterate, I have a switch that is 720 watts, and I plan to connect 10 watt speakers that require 25 watts, and one uh, IP phone that requires 5 watts. So what would be my total power consumption? Yes, so a lot of right answers coming through. Yes. I think maybe we can give it maybe another 30 seconds to for everyone to just work it out. And then I will also explain. But yes, I think everyone's got the idea. And again, if anyone is not clear about it, even after I maybe explain it or work it out, please feel free to ask. We can always, this is an educational session. So we want everyone to understand, we want everyone to leave this training with more knowledge than they came in. So please let us know. Yeah, okay. So maybe I'll tell the answer now. So the total power consumption would be 255 watts. And how we came to 255 watts is that you have 25 into 10 plus 5. So 255. Now what we would be left with is 465 watts, meaning that 720 watts minus 255 gives you 465. Now what you can do with this 465 is you can connect other speakers. Maybe if you have another set of IP phones that are PoE enabled, you can connect those. It is not that these ports aren't unusable now. So you can connect. And what even in the question it mentions you have 24 ports remaining. 24 ports out of which we are using 11 ports. So another 13 ports are available. And to those 13 ports, you can connect other speakers, other IP phones. Maybe even if you have IP cameras, you can connect them. All those are there. So these are considerations that you take in when you are suggesting the solution to the clients as well. Now, yeah. So if that is clear, maybe if does anyone have any doubt regarding that calculation, or should I reiterate it? Maybe if you're clear about it, maybe we can get a thumbs up on the chat, or so that we know that everyone's on the same page. Or maybe you can just put the thumbs up emoji. Then we know that everyone's Mr. Dileep's got it. Is is everyone else clear? Yes. So I can see a lot of thumbs ups coming now. So yes, yes, perfect. Yes, because we are also here to clarify it, and so no harm in asking. If anyone hasn't got it, also no harm in asking. We are here to explain it. Or maybe if you don't want to ask it on the platform also, you can contact us after this and ask us as well. Perfect. Lots coming on the chat as well as on the tiles of the uh on Zoom as well. I think this is perfect. So I think we can move ahead. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for paying so much attention, and so let's move ahead. So the next thing we're going to touch upon is integration. So uh, when speakers are IP speakers, you are opening the doors to a lot of integration. So we will take up different types of integrations, and what this will help is clarify concepts. So first thing is the integration with existing systems. So say for example you are talking to a client where the client has existing systems, but they want to have IP systems as well. So now what happens is that we do face this on a regular basis. So now what we can do is we can give them the SBox. The SBox is a device that's made by it converts analog to IP. So, for example, now what happens is you have their amplifier, and to their amplifier, they have speakers connected. What we can do is we can connect this SBox analog output to the line in of the amplifier, and then the SBox is connected to the network. So now what happens is, say for example, someone makes dials the extension of the SBox, the announcement would come to all the speakers. So what you're giving the customer is essentially a, a mix between it is more like saying it is a hybrid solution at this point, because because of the fact that the customer doesn't get to fully experience all the features of IP solutions, where he could control individual speakers, he could make announcements to individual speakers, because to the system now it is just the SBox, and whatever's connected to the SBox is the out. Now but also it helps aids the customer in transitioning as well. That is something that Melvin had also touched upon in the beginning of this, where you can tell the customer, because of the ease of installation and adding new speakers to this, we can always suggest the customer to have a phase wise transition. And even during his phase wise transition, if he has existing systems, he can have these systems, can have S boxes, and once he converts it to IP, then the SBox is not required. So you can take the customer through phase wise of this as well. So the SBox is something that provides you a hybrid solution between an analog and an IP solution. Now, next is integration with fire alarms. So integration with fire alarms is also something that is a very common question that we get asked, and I believe it was also asked today as well. So fire alarms generally have something, have an NONC pin. So now NONC pins are normally open, normally closed pins, and these are the pins that get triggered when when say the fire alarm detects a fire signal or smoke signal or anything. It is a trigger. Now, this trigger can be connected to the SBox. So, SBox, again, like I mentioned, is our analog to IP converter, and the SBox can be customized to have read NONC signals. Now, what happens when the SBox reads the signal is that it can trigger an alarm. Now, when it triggers an alarm, we can define 100 scenarios of what kind of alarm it should trigger. Maybe you want to trigger alarm only to a zone. We can do that. You want to trigger it only to a speaker. We can do that. You want to trigger to all the speakers. We can do that. Now it comes the part where we are a core telephony company. Now, for example, when the SBox triggers, you want to trigger it to all the speakers, but you also want to call 10 people and then tell them that this fire has happened. We can do that. So there are a lot of ways you can trigger, you can notify, and these are the key advantages of having IP speakers. Maybe not just that. Maybe when the trigger happens, the SBox should send an email. We can send trigger those. So what happens is you have this kind of freedom to define what your workflows are. It is not that someone's coming, putting speakers there and saying, okay, this is the solution and this is how it works. You can tell your clients, the clients can define how they want these solutions to be integrated or how they want their workflows, how they want. So because every company has different workflows, every company uh, has different process, and we understand that. So that is why we have designed these systems to accommodate those. Now, coming to the next one is API integration. So now API integrations are very interesting, and API integrations is gives us a larger scope, where now say for example you have a camera. So now currently there are a lot of smart cameras where you can have cameras have detect motion, detect intruder, lots of other features. Now when not just that, even we have done projects with say the forest department, where animal crossing, or you want to scare away a certain group of animals. Now, if the camera can recognize it and send us this trigger, the speakers can make these announcements. Now, it's not that the speaker just makes one type of announcement, we can give different triggers. So, maybe, for example, if the camera sends us a trigger of maybe in a school scenario, during the day, the camera sends us a trigger where a child is walking on the corridor. So then we have to make an announcement saying, please don't walk on the corridors during class hours. But then in the night, it is more an intruder who's not supposed to walk on the corridor. So the camera can send us another type of signal. So these integrations are possible. And now when I say API triggers, I also mentioned that I would touch up on some more detail of the API trigger, where you can have 1:1. So like you see the camera here, the camera can directly trigger APIs to the speakers. The speakers have a rich set of APIs that are enabled, and you can trigger these APIs. Now, when I say what are the APIs for the speakers, you have APIs to upload audio, you have starting announcement, reducing announcement, controlling the volume of the speaker. All these are available APIs in the speakers. But also, I have another arrow going to the server. Now, if why you ask that I have that is because it is that you can again make announcement to a group of speakers instantly. Now, to make announcement to a group of speakers through one API hit is to make an announcement to a zone, and we can do that. We can trigger that announcement. So that's what helps in this whole process of API integrations, where we give our clients that flexibility to define their workflows, tell us how they want it to be triggered, and then we are open to integration with other systems as well. Now, another thing is integration with existing EPBX. Say, for example, the client has an existing EPBX which is the traditional EPPX. What we can do is we can trunk to our server, and then what the IPPA, the new server would make this announcement. So one thing I just want to come back before we do the EPPX is that there is also one more poll that I want to, maybe before we finish the IP PA or the IP integrations, API integrations, there is another poll that I just wanted to touch upon. So, uh, if an organization wanted to trigger an alarm based on event by cameras, do they need a separate controller? Assume announcement is only to one speaker. It is not to a group of speakers, it is just to that one speaker next to it. So you maybe they have a speaker and then they have a camera. Now, do they need a separate controller, or can they just do it directly? Yeah. So the answer is no. So you don't need a separate controller for this. So what you if it is a one is to one communication, like I mentioned, you can directly you can directly trigger to these speakers. Yeah, so coming back to the EPPX. Now, say, for example, clients have a traditional EPBX system where they have their extensions, they have their analog phones, they have all that, but now they want IP speakers. Now, replacing all those phones would also be a difficult task for them. So then what you can do is we can integrate with their existing EPBX system where we will trunk between their EPBX. So if their EPBX system has SIP license, we would just trunk between our server and our PA server and the EPBX system, and then assign extensions. So now what happens is we would say, for example, we assign say the 3000 series. So 3001, 2, 3, 4 is is the IP speakers. What they can do is from their analog phones they can make a call, and then when they make a call it would land to the speaker. So we there is scope where, say, you can have the EPBX as well as the IPBX working in unison to achieve this. Now, it's not just this. Say even in the office network, they have soft phones. They can connect the soft phone and make these announcements. So one key thing to remember is that making an announcement to a speaker, to a group of speakers, regardless of how many speakers are there in the group, is almost the same functionality where you dial a set of numbers or a combination of numbers and make this announcement. So what happens is it becomes extremely simple. You don't have to go change things, change wiring, change zone to do it. It is, say for example, a speaker's extension is 3001 and a zone with 500 speakers are 5001. It takes the same amount of effort to press those four numbers in combination to make it to one speaker, make it to 500 speakers. And that is the kind of simplicity we want to bring, and the kind of ease of use we want to bring in these systems. Now, a new and interesting development that we have also bought, that is the 50-watt horn speaker. So this is a development that we have we have bought, where you can drive 50-watt horn speakers with 10-watt PoE, but there is a catch where it is for a short period of time. So how this works is that the 10-watt PoE charges a battery in the 50-watt, in the 50 for the 50-watt speaker, and then it makes, whenever they need to make announcements, it makes the announcement. It is not that it can continuously play audio, but it is for cases where you can't pass 50 watts of power through Ethernet, or they have restrictions, all that. Then we can deploy this speaker where they have limited power that is supplied, but then it supplies to a battery, and then the battery makes it. But again, like I mentioned, you have the restriction that you can only make, say, small sets of announcements, and not like you can't play, say, a song the full time. That won't work. So that is a new development, and that is something that's not in the market. So one thing I also wanted to touch upon, if you go to go to page number 4 of the handbook is also. So since now we have gone through multiple features and multiple solutions of the IP based PA solution, one thing I wanted to also highlight is what are the key advantages, or when we go to clients, there is a question always, why not analog, why not we go with analog speakers? Because on an initial investment level, yes, 100% analog speakers are a cheaper solution, but in a long term solution it is not. So these are points that we have to educate the customers, and it is not just by face value that it is analog speakers. So these are, and I have put a comparison on page number 4. If everyone can go to page number 4, we can go through that as well. So one thing is that data is transmitted over Ethernet. In a traditional analog, data is transmitted over copper. Now, the advantage of transmitting data over Ethernet is that over time, Ethernet does not degrade. Copper wires degrade over time. So I've also highlighted it throughout the whole thing, where these solutions or these PS solutions are solutions that the clients or the organizations that we give it to want to have for the next 10-15 years. PS solutions are solutions where it is a long-term investment for them. And in a long-term investment, they want it to be give the same performance, give the same output that it gave on day one to whenever the last day they want to use it is. So, and to do that, it would be advisable that they have an IP based PA solution, a future ready solution. Next, speakers are actively amplified in an IP based, in a traditional PA system. You have an amplifier, so you have a big amplifier, and then all speakers connected to those are the speak amplifier powers those speakers. But in an IP based PA solution, the amplifier resides within the speaker. What this helps is that every speaker sounds the same. As in, if all speakers are set to volume 6, anywhere you go, it will sound the same. But in an analog case, you have loss because it is amplified and then sent, or along transmission you have lost. So say a volume is set, the same volume is set for each speaker. At different lengths, you will find the difference in sound. So that also gives an unpleasant feeling to the whole setup. Now, third point is similar to what I mentioned. So I combined the second and third point. Now, fourth point is that you have central and distributed control. So meaning, like Melvin and touched upon the different types of access points. You can do it from an IP phone, you can do it from a soft phone, you can connect, say, a phone number to this. That is something we did bring up, but that is a very key thing, where if, say, for example, someone wants to it they are not in, say, Wi-Fi range, but they have cell phone signal, and you can also maybe have a GSM gateway or anything connected to the PA server, and then we can give a phone number. As soon as they dial the phone number, it announces to a zone. So what happens is, you are giving the users control to do it anywhere, or do, if required, do it anywhere. It's not that it is open that anyone can do it, but if required, it can be set up that anyone can do this. Now, in an analog case, you would have to go to the amplifier and make the announcement. What that also means is that generally amplifiers are kept in server rooms, and now to make an announcement, the manager would have to go to the server room, take the mic, and make the announcement, which is a very inconvenient solution. And coming to our day and age, where everything that is around us is easily accessible, and if we are improving in accessibility, it becomes a very sore thing to do that. Now, geographically listed, so limited, not geographically limited, and analog systems are geographically limited. What I mean by that is, analog systems transmit as far as the copper wire goes. Now, you can't have, say, branch offices. So we have also worked with cases where there was companies that had, these are banks that had branch offices all across India, and then what happened is they wanted to make announcements to these. So it was connected to their IP cameras as well. So when they detected something, they wanted to make these announcements. Now, you cannot do that in an analog case, or it is not practical because otherwise they would have to run copper wire throughout. They can't sit in a central control station and make these announcements. So removing the geographical restrictions, removing those bounds, because we are in the age of the internet, and having geographical bounds really doesn't make sense in that case. Now, central volume control. So Melbourne had shown it in the GUI as well. From the GUI, you can have these announcements. You can control each and every individual speaker's volume. In an analog case, you would have to go to each and every speaker and then tune it, or go to the amplifier and then tune the volume. Any combination of zones can be made. What we mean by this is, like Melvin also had shown in his presentation, any permutation combination. You have wall mount speakers, ceiling speakers, horn speakers. Really doesn't matter. You can put how many ever speakers in one zone, and if you have want, say, a zone that has 100 speakers, you can take 10 speakers from that, create another zone as well, and you can mix and match this. It's not that if a speaker is in one zone, it can't be present in another. So you can do the whole mix and match process. Now, in an analog system, you can't do that. Analog system zones are either a zone hardware, or it is whatever is connected to the amplifier. Now, that becomes a restriction. Another thing is that if you want to change zones in an IP speaker, what you can do is you just go to the GUI, four clicks, and you've created another zone. In an analog case, you would have to do a whole rewiring. So it is, systems are now going towards having scalability, having flexibility, having concepts for integration. All those are highlights and are points that we can share, and key highlights. Now, lastly, announcing. So you can announce to an individual speaker. Like we mentioned, you can have control up to the lowest or the smallest point of your PA system, which is an individual speaker, and you can make an announcement. So use cases are typically, say, in schools, in hospitals. In schools, you want to make announcements to a single classroom. All those are possible. So even those use cases, when Melbourne takes over again, we are going to case by case as well. So that would give you more clarity on that. Now, in analog, you can't do that. You have to say whatever speakers are connected to the amplifier, those are your announcement devices. So these are key highlights. These are, say, tools in our armor that we can show, we can tell, we can we can pitch that clients are looking for future ready solutions, and this is a very future ready solution that we can share. Saying that, I would pass it on back to Melvin, and Melvin will take us through the case studies and further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abu. I hope everything is clear so far. So in the coming slides, we'll be discussing about some practical application case studies. The technical part and the future-wise part, everything is almost done. So now we'll be discussing about the case studies. We'll go through each practical application and what all features we can bring up. So first thing is school. So in schools, one of the major requirement of the IP-based PA system requirement is coming from the school side. So schools, as I mentioned, like different classrooms will be there, different floors will be there. So it is important to make announcement in individual classroom. So if the principal wants to summon a student, then he can make the announcement to one classroom and he can call that student. So it won't be disturbing for other students, right? So like that, even feedback also, for feedback, two-way communication is possible, or these features are possible. And even the fire alarm integration, we can integrate with the fire alarm. So in case of any fire issue, the announcement pre-recorded evacuation message will be played. So all these integrations are also important for schools, right? So and also we provide something called timetable module alarm. So we know there is something called automated bell system. So usually the current scenario is like, if it is an analog PA system, they need to procure one more device, one more equipment system called automated alarm system. So that will be we can call period change notification also. But if it is IP based PA system, the same PA system will act as a automated bell system also, or we can say period change notification. So let's go to the interface and get a proper understanding. Okay. So in the manage interface, as I mentioned, like different zones are there. I mean, different modules are there: zone, status, schedule, playlist, and bell. So in the bell module here, we can create a automated. We can create bell. We can schedule the bell, and even we can set different alert for the different department. Okay. So here to create the bell, we just need to create the profile first. Maybe morning bell. Other than Saturday and Sunday, I'm selecting all the days. And zone also. Okay, and I save it. Okay, so now the profile is created. Now we are creating the schedule. Okay, so here I need to select the profile, morning bell, add schedule, maybe 9 o'clock. Morning prayer will be 9 o'clock. And I can select the alarm bell tune also. And here I can select the holidays. Here I can select the profile, morning bell, and I can select the holidays throughout the calendar, right? So like that, we can schedule the bell. So once we schedule the bell, it will be automated, and even we can schedule different alert for the different divisions. So even the students will get to know that okay, this period change notification is for us. Like that, we can schedule the bell also, right? So this is also one of the practical scenario for schools, and the another major requirement is like for the two-way communication, and also the principal wants to understand what is happening in the classroom. So as I mentioned, the same push to talk button will be keeping in a way that like uh, uh, there won't be any push to talk option, but instead the principal can dial the extension number. That time the mic will be active, and that will capture the noise what is happening in the classroom. The principal can understand without the knowledge of students or faculty. Okay, so these are the practical application for the schools. So whenever if you are doing a site visit, or if you are going for this school scenario, then you can explain this kind of feature. So as I mentioned, most of the scenarios, the school management also, they have this kind of requirement, but they don't know what is the solution. So it is our duty, it is our responsibility to introduce this IP based solution to the school. Right. So as I mentioned, like almost all schools, the LAN network will be there. So it is just plug and play. Additional cabling is not required if the POE switch is suitable. Right. So this is all about the school case. And hospitals, the other major requirement coming from the hospital side. So in hospital, we know different negotiation will be there, emergency room will be there, waiting areas will be there. So as I mentioned, this zone based announcement based on the office hospital structure, we can create different kind of zone. Maybe we can create a zone including all the negotiation, waiting room separate zone, emergency area separate zone. Like that, based on the customer input, we can create unlimited zones. And background music in the maybe in the visitor area, we can set a background music. And there is something called code announcement, like as I mentioned before, in hospital they usually conduct the code announcement, code blue, code red, code black, this kind of announcement, and that is mandatory from the hospital side. So maybe we can take one code announcement like code blue announcement. So in the code blue announcement is like whenever the patient go coma or cardiac arrest, there will be dedicated team with the kit to assist the patient. So that almost most of the time the code blue team will be present in the nurse session, right? So if the patient go cardiac arrest, the doctor or nurse can call to the nurse session and make the announcement, code blue team please assemble to second floor. So that announcement will be audible in the nurse session. Right. So this code blue announcement is one of the major requirement from the hospital side. Right. So now if they don't have IP based PA system, if they want to make announcement, they should rush to a specific area. There they need to hold the mic and make the announcement. Right. But in this scenario, they just need to take the IP phone and dial the code blue extension number, maybe 3000. All the nation will be making the announcement. And also the other beauty is that even the code blue team will be getting a notification in their mobile phone also. So we can for the code blue team will be installing one application as to software one. So through this application also they'll be getting the notification. So if they are not present in the negotiation, so consider if the code blue team is not present in the negotiation, maybe if they are in the cafeteria or something, then also they'll be getting notification. So the announcement, the communication will be so proper. Not only for the code blue announcement, code red, code black, all this announcement we can make, and we can set different rules for that. And also the other thing is that in hospitals, they will be conducting mock drills. So every month there is a rule like they have to conduct this many mock drills like code blue, code red mock drills they have to conduct for training the employees, right? So usually in hospital there will be inspection from NABH also. NABH side there will be inspection. So the one of the major thing they'll ask like, are you conducting the mock drills? Or the PA system is connected to the fire alarm. So these two things are mandatory for the communication purpose. And for the mock drills, we'll be having the data. So if it is IP based PA system, we'll be having the data, like we'll be having the recording, what time they have conducted the mock drills, all this announcement data will be there. So the hospital can easily submit this data to the NABH inspector and they'll be getting the certification also. So this inspection and submitting the document, that is one of the major requirement from the hospital side. And the adherent to the fact that most of the hospital management, they're not aware of this kind of feature. So we can introduce this feature to the hospital management. And emergency evacuation button, as I mentioned, in case of any emergency, we'll be keeping a SOS button, emergency panic button. So the public can push this button instead of in case of any emergency scenario. And fire alarm integration, we have already explained. Fire alarm integration also we can do. And factory, when it's come to factory, as I mentioned, like factory will be a little bigger premise, maybe 200-acre 300-acre premise. So it is not possible for the manager to go to each site and communicate, or maybe for the communication he can't rush to his room to pick the IP phone. So through this mobile phone itself he can make the announcement. And also sometimes it will be very noisy. Most of the radio machineries will be there. So even if the manager tries to communicate anything, it might be not audible. So he can use his mobile phone and he can make the announcement. And PTT button also, like manager can see the CCTV visuals from his cabin and he can give the instruction to the employees via safety gadget or via helmet. This kind of information he can give, and even he can get the feedback from the employees push to talk button. And the fire alarm integration, we can do the fire alarm integration. And also, as Abu mentioned, we can do the integration with the safety devices like IP camera integration or fire alarm integration, or any motion sensor integration. Also, currently we were doing one project. In that project is like the one of our partner, they're having a software which can detect the environment, like if they are wearing the safety gadgets, or if they are not wearing the helmet, and or if they are passing one restricted area. All these things this software will understand and will give a trigger to the PA system. So here we have done the integration with the software and our PA system. Okay, so the software will detect whether there is a this kind of activities, or if they are not wearing any safety helmet, that will give a trigger to the PA system. Okay, so the PA system will make the announcement. So this kind of integrations are possible. So if any factory, if they are asking for any kind of integration, we can do that. So whenever you are doing a site visit, you can explain these features to the management. Okay. So these are the practical application of IP-based public announcement system. So do you want to discuss anything we can implement or introduce to this hospital or factory or school? Do you have any feature, or do you have any suggestion where we can do the integration or implementation? So if you have any suggestion, you can share it with me, or you can uh, unmute yourself and we can discuss.
There are a few questions which just line up.
Yes.
Hello,
So,
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you one question.
Yes, sir. Please.
I am Abhay Mafidar from Alpha Communication, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh.
Okay. Great, sir.
Just I want to know ki this system is purely IP based system. Can we connect analog telephone instrument also?
Yes, sir. We can connect analog devices also. If it is, you are asking for API-BX integration, right, sir?
Yeah.
Yes. Using the gateway, we can do the integration. So that is also possible.
Is it dedicatedly PA system, or it is it is a combination of EPBX and PA system?
It's a combination of IPPBX and PA system.
Hello.
Abu, you are not audible, Abu.
Oh, sorry.
No, you are not audible.
louder.
Okay, so Abu was explaining that, as I mentioned in the previous slide, it can act as a combination of IPPBX as well as PA system, right?
Yeah,
So like if the customer is having requirement for outgoing call, incoming call, and intercom is also
that
the
is
PA
very
system.
great. But in a commercial way,
Mm.
the IP phones are very costly. That's
Yes.
why the customer
Mhm.
not interested in purely IP EPBX system. We
Yes, sir.
need the
Mm.
that type of system
Mm.
which is commercially viable.
Understood.
Uh,
So I was
and the,
saying that,
and
yeah, continue,
the
sir.
IP
Mm.
speakers and
Mm.
IP horns are costlier
Mm.
compared to analog speakers and horns. So why the customer go to buy this system?
Yes,
Because
absolutely. So
it involves the PoE switches, and it also involves the PoE switches, and
correct, sir. Absolutely.
wiring is costlier in a commercial way. How is it how it becomes cheaper than compared to analog system?
Yes, sir. So we're not so IP-based PA systems. Yeah, we're not saying that it is cheaper than analog systems. It is more expensive than analog systems, but it is that you also get. Yeah, it is more a feature-rich solution. So it is solutions that are in the market now. It is, for example, I think even if you saw my slides that I had shown earlier, it is that the analog PS is the IPPS system is what is everyone's implementing because of the features it can provide. And so answering your question, it is that yes, it is not a cheaper system, but it is a feature rich system, and that is what we are also proposing. We are not It is not a cheaper system than the IP analog PA system, but it is also that analog PA systems have a shelf life of, or a life cycle of, a very shorter period compared to an IPPA system. And in terms of saying that they need to purchase switches and cabling, a lot of the new buildings already have this in place. Yeah, Ethernet cabling is something that is already in place nowadays.
Okay, I understand.
Yes.
System is good. System is good. The cost is the IP phones and IP speakers are higher compared to analog phones and speakers. That's why I'm asking question.
Absolutely. So even if you think of it 10 years down, if you were comparing, say, an EPBX to an IPPBX, everyone would say that the EPBX is cheaper, why go for the EPBX? But then suddenly now you see what's happening. EPBX, there's almost nothing in EPBX, or a lot of companies, Panasonic, a lot of them are stopping the EPBX, but then IPPBX is still in the market. So it is, see, systems like these are systems that have to last the test of time, and it is that people who are installing it also are looking for long term solutions, and that is why it is price wise also, yes, it is a slightly higher solution. Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
And add on to that point, sir, as we discussed, like some feature which only IP speaker can provide the solution. So if the customer is asking for multi-premise option, like from centralized location to multiple branches, with that kind of solution, analog speaker can't provide. So the only solution is IP-based public announcement system. So in case of traffic police control system also, there we can't keep the copper cable. So there, using the fiber connection, fiber network, IP communication will be happening. There we'll be implementing the IP-based public announcement system. In that scenario also, we can't go with the analog PA system. And as we explaining like this kind of AP integration, most of the factories, hospital, they will be looking for this kind of AP integration. So this AP integration also, only IP-based public announcement system can provide the exact solution.
Exactly, you are correct
Mm.
in this scenario. In
Mm.
this application, the traffic system, traffic control system, and industry, it is
Mm.
it is viable. But
Mm.
in case of schools and colleges, it is not a viable.
So a majority of our clients is also
Abu, you're not audible. Now you're on.
Yeah. So majority of our solutions is also is on.
1 second.
Yeah, so a majority of our clients are also from, say, schools and hospitals itself. Because, say, in terms of a school also, or maybe, yeah, okay, Melvin, you have the slides open. Maybe, Melvin, you can also explain the benefits of the solution when it comes to schools and hospitals. Because that is see, schools and hospitals is a larger user case for us. Because in schools also, say, for example, they want to make an announcement to a uh, single classroom. The principal can do that, or say they want to have talk back where the say and principal makes an announcement and then the student has to talk back or the teacher has to talk back. That can happen. Multiple bell schedules can happen. So newer schools and schools are looking for solutions like this. And so hospitals also, key advantages are like NABH certification and much else. I think Melvin can touch upon that in further detail.
Yes, yes. So as I was explaining, like this kind of feature, some feature only IP-based public announcement system can provide this kind of feature. Like if the principal wants to make announcement to one classroom or getting the feedback or integration with the fire alarm. So the major thing is that first of all, we need to understand like lot of customers are looking for these kind of solutions and they're ready to invest for that also. So we know that in school scenario, most of the classes are now converted into smart classrooms. So they are investing a lot, and also they don't want to lay lot of copper cable, so it will look wise also it will be not good. And this kind of integration automation, all this automation also they have to do. So as I mentioned, like once we schedule the announcement it will be automated. So this kind of automation, or let's say the exam notification. So recently I was doing one implementation, so the customer already having the analog PA system. So after visiting the site I get to know that all the building they have laid the copper cable but they already had the LAN network. So the thing is that it was little difficult for me to explain this feature to the customer because they were also concerned about the price wise. But I show the presentation, I show the implementation, I show the interface. So after seeing the interface, they were ready to replace the solution. So currently in the setup, they are having analog speaker. Now we have replaced the analog speaker with IP speaker. Right. So first of all, the customer also will be little concerned about the pricing for sure, because as I mentioned, this is a really old solution. This is a new solution. IP-based solution is a new solution. And we know that previously everyone were looking for analog cameras. Now we can't see analog cameras. Everywhere is IP camera. Why? The major thing is that we'll be utilizing the LAN network. And second thing is that we can do the integration. So a lot of applications are there. So people are ready to invest. So the same shift is happening for IP-based public announcement system also. So it is true that first of all, it will be little difficult for the customer to get digested, but it is our duty to introduce this feature, and we need to educate the customer sometimes. And trust me, there are customers who are exactly looking for this kind of solutions, this kind of features. Okay, I hope it is clear. So do you want to add any point to this, sir? Or shall I continue with the presentation?
Maybe
Okay,
you
I
can.
think, yes, I think that is clear. So we'll be
Can we
doing a small, yeah, yeah.
can we use mechanical ringer for school period scheduling?
I didn't get you, sir. Come again.
I said in case of a school
Hmm.
system,
Hmm.
can we use mechanical ringer
So you won't
for
need the mechanical ringer, sir. So the IP system, the IPPS system by astTECS comes with the
okay,
scheduler. So you don't need a ringer anymore. This completely replaces the ringer itself. You
okay.
wouldn't need that itself.
Means we can schedule through the speaker what where the period is going on.
Correct. You can schedule through the speaker itself, and you can have different bells for say first standard is different bell timing. Second standard is different bell timing. All that can be scheduled, and if the speaker is in the classroom, only when that classroom one first standard's bell is there, only first standard will get that bell. So you can schedule it that way. So you have very high flexibility that way. You don't need a mechanical ringer anymore.
Hmm.
We can customize it to a level where we can also announce which period is coming next. So say give us the timetable, we can customize. Say for example, first day has maths is the next period. The bell will ring and say your next period is
Actually, I
mathematics.
asked this question because some places want to get advanced in feature, but want to look traditional in the way. As a school is like a tring bell, so
We can
I
upload
hope
an
you are
audio of a
getting me.
tring bell also, sir. That same tring bell audio we can upload, and then we can play it. You
Okay.
see, they can do that as well. So we have no limitation in audio. Any audio they can.
Ah, okay.
It can be anything. Yes, sir. It can be that the mechanical bell sound itself can. Yeah, well, you can take over.
Okay, okay. So this is the final activity of this presentation. So please, I request you to open the page number 11. So there we can do one activity. So I think more than me, you have practical experience suggesting the number of speaker or even the school architecture, hospital architecture. You have more knowledge, right? So this is a small interactive section where you can suggest the number of speaker. So especially anyway, when you're doing the site visit, you need to suggest the number of speaker to the clients, right? So first of all, we'll take a classroom scenario. So here you can see the corridor. In corridor, consider this corridor is 25-meter long, 25-meter long, and the classroom size is 500 square feet. Each classroom size is 500 square feet. So here you can see the 10 watt speaker, 15 watt speaker, 10 watt wall mount speaker, 15 watt wall mount speaker, ceiling speaker 10 watt, and 50 watt horn speaker also. Okay, and here you can see for 10 watt speaker you can mark as blue square. 15 watt speaker you can mark as a blue circle, and red circle for the ceiling speaker, and green circle for the 50 watt speaker. So in the corridor, how many speaker or what speaker you suggest? So one more thing I can say that here false ceiling is not there. Here in the school false ceiling is not there. So which speaker you will suggest? Maybe you can, if you didn't take the printout, maybe you can mention in the chat, or else you can mark it in this diagram and you can share a snap in the WhatsApp chat, WhatsApp also, WhatsApp group. Otherwise you can mention in the chat box. So I request you to participate in this action. So once again, the corridor length is 25-meter and the classroom size is approximately 500 square feet each classroom. So maybe we'll take 1 minute of time. So which speaker you would suggest? Is it wall mount speaker or ceiling speaker or horn speaker? So one more thing is that it is based on your creativity. So we can't say that this speaker is not suitable here. So it is actually testing your creativity, like how creatively you will suggest the number of speaker here, or what type of speaker you will suggest. Okay, so in the corridor, what speaker we would suggest? Is it 50 watt speaker or 10 watt wall mount speaker? And so few of the members are saying 50 watt speaker, SW15, FW50, wall mount speaker, maybe in the corridor. Okay, so in the classroom, what speaker would suggest? The classroom size is 500 square feet only. For 500 square feet room, what speaker you would suggest? Okay, classroom size 1 into 10 watt speaker, 11 units. Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. 15 watt speaker, perfect. Okay, so classroom size is 25-meter. So let me tell you my suggestion as per the site visit, as per the experience I have done, like site visit I have done. My suggestion is like instead of making a 50, going with a 50 watt speaker, my suggestion is to go with a multiple number of speaker. So if it is multiple number of speaker, the sound audio balance will be proper. So it can be 10 watt speaker or 15 watt speaker, 15 watt speaker. But if you go with multiple number of speaker, the audio balance will be good. But if it is an open corridor, one side is open, then based on the customer input, we can keep a horn speaker also, 50 watt horn speaker also we can keep. Okay. So the classroom size 10 watt speaker. Also, when we suggest the number of speaker, we consider two things. One is that the room size, what will be the approximate room size, and second thing is that what will be the number of people at a particular time. At a particular time, what will be the number of people at the classroom. So if it is 30 students, we should make sure that all the 30 students, the announcement will be audible, right? Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so next, let's go to the next one, hospital. So in hospital, you can see ICU2 is there, nurse stations are there, reception, general ward is there, and waiting room. So this many people will be there in the waiting room, waiting area. Okay. So here, one more thing is that false ceiling is also there. In the hospital, false ceiling is there. Which speaker you would suggest? Is it 10 watt wall mount speaker, 10 watt ceiling speaker, or 50 watt horn speaker? What is your suggestion? Like, and the area size approximately all room we can say that ICU maybe 200 square feet, and waiting area 1000 square feet, general ward also 1000 square feet. Okay, so what would be your suggestion? Should we go with the ceiling speaker or wall mount speaker, horn speaker? For waiting area, 10 watt speaker is sufficient, except in the waiting area. Okay, so also as I mentioned, like when we suggest the number of speaker, we need to consider what will be the maximum number of people at the time in that hospital. So what would be the number of speaker you would suggest? If it is a 10 watt wall mount speaker, what would be the number of speaker you would suggest for the waiting area? How many speaker for the waiting area? 10 watt speaker. 2 speaker, yeah. So in this scenario, we'll be getting the customer input also. We can go with the 2 speaker or 4 speakers also. Area size is 1000 square feet. So 2 speaker, yeah. 2 speaker can cover that area, and also we'll get the customer input also in that. And also one more thing is that we can't keep more than 10 watt speakers in hospital, because like in hospital, there is a rule like it should be less than 50 decibel. So we can't keep a higher volume in hospital. So my suggestion is, whenever if you're suggesting the speaker to the hospital, go with the 10 watt speaker. Go with the 10 watt speaker, but multiple number. So if lot of people are there, maybe four corner we can keep the speaker, and we can control the speaker volume also. If it is not that much crowded area, then we can keep the speaker volume less, and in emergency scenario, the speaker volume will override. Okay, hospital, yeah. 300 square feet, 10 watt wall mount speaker is sufficient. Exactly. Yeah. So I think no one is suggested more than 10 watt speaker. So perfect. I think you are having the proper idea, proper creativity. Yeah. Okay. So when it's come to factory, so here you can see machineries are there in the factory. Manufacturing unit is there. In manufacturing unit, around 6 machineries are there, and manager cabin and log dock is there. So first we'll go to the manufacturing unit. So how many speaker or what kind of speaker you would suggest in the manufacturing unit? In manufacturing unit, you would suggest wall mount speaker or ceiling speaker or horn speaker. Which speaker you would suggest in the manufacturing unit where machineries are there? Also, maybe I'll give a question like their false ceiling is also there. Which speaker you would suggest to the manufacturing unit? Horn speaker. Area size approximately 10,000 square feet. 10,000 square feet, you can say. Horn speaker. Noisy horn speaker. Exactly. Yeah, perfect. Horn speakers. Yeah, I think you have the proper idea. Now you are ready to do the site visit for IP-based public announcement system also. So exactly in the manufacturing unit, here you can see the machineries are there. So definitely my suggestion is also to go with the horn speaker. So horn speaker sound will travel more distance, and it will be some kind of penetrating voice, so it will be audible even if the machineries are active. It will be audible to everyone. Okay, perfect. Horn speaker, yeah, perfect. So this is the end of the activity. So you can share this, you can mark this in the you can take a screenshot, I mean sorry, you can mark it in the workbook, and you can take a snap, and you can share it in the WhatsApp group. So after this section we'll be discussing internally. Okay, so I think that is all about this IP based PA system presentation. So in the comment section, like if you have any doubt regarding this IP-based PA system, or if you want to clarify, if you want me to clarify any slide, you can discuss, or you can come online, you can unmute yourself and we can discuss.
One question, Melvin, which has been put up by Mr. Nagendra.
Ma'am, you are not properly audible.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there is one question which is come up from Mr. Nagendra. He wants to know, does this FBOX is managed device, or do we compulsory need to connect it to the PA server? Can we manage this FBOX directly from the internet?
It depends on what kind of functionality you want to achieve with the SBox. Say, for example, it is that you want the SBox to connect to, say, make an announcement. Maybe, for example, now if it is the SBox just has to read analog signal, integrate with the fire alarm, and send a signal somewhere else. It can be just a individual standalone device, but for example, now you want the SBox to connect with the amplifier to make it an audio out device, then you need to connect it to the speaker. So depending on what kind of functionality you need with the SBox, we can discuss if we need to connect it to a PA server or not. Sir, if you can come online, and if you have any further clarity that you require on this question, we can clarify it right here, so that maybe even if someone else has similar doubts, it would be clear.
Mr. Nagendra, if you are around, you can unmute and ask the further query if you have any doubts.
Okay, so going to the next one, yeah, Mr. Eldad, yes, this is in regions where you don't have that much power supply, but then again, like I mentioned, it is not that this is a backup power speaker. You still are continuously supplying 10 watts. It just said the 10 watts converts to 50 watts for a shorter duration of time where you can make the announcement. But yes, these are very good use cases of the speaker. Is there any other questions that we can? Uh, yes, Mr. Manohar. Yes, we are providing PPTs. We have marketing material as well that we will send across. Yes, we have all that. So we have PPTs, marketing material, and the PPT that we just showed you as well. All this material will be shared.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.